Hi guys, it's Wednesday, March 19th. It's Wednesday. I did not get to see the most recent press conference from the governor of the state of Indiana. I did hear that he was making the decision that students would do e-learning K through 12 through the end of until May 1. And then I fully expect him to just pull the plug on the spring semester for K through 12. At my job, we spent the day running through different scenarios that the faculty were considering for final grading options for the students, and how would we make this work? What are the implications that we haven't thought of? They want to make a decision by noon on Friday to be able to share with the students, and I think we went through 4 different iterations of what they might be thinking for the students. It's tough. They want to provide options for students this semester that will help protect them from what has turned into a really, really tough semester, but still not be a disservice to them in their discipline. Right now, we're starting to see students that were supposed to graduate this semester and start jobs. Now those jobs are being put on hold because of the economy, because of COVID-19. We got authorization today that next week when the students are back, we would be only handling virtual customers. Yeah, we're going to have a couple of our staff had already asked in customer service to work from home a couple days a week. One of them has young children at home where the schools are out, so between he and his wife, they will take turns playing teacher. The other staff that wanted to work from home has a spouse that has some underlying health conditions that could be problematic, so we made that agreement. The other 4 staff prefer to come in for the structure, so I said as long as we're not told we can't come in, I'll be there to support you. Except my husband said last night that he was really worried about his health. He has asthma, and even though we are practicing social distancing and I have an office of my own and we aren't going to be welcoming foot traffic into the office, he's still anxious about what I might bring home to him. It's Thursday. I think tomorrow will be my last day going into the office out of respect for my husband and his health. I did broach the subject with my boss to let him know. That would mean potentially my hourly staff would have no supervisor on site to run problems by, because my assistant registrar is potentially losing her daycare. Yeah, so we're going to figure it all out. I'll probably prep my team, let them know about my decision and my plan to work remotely for a couple of weeks. Yeah, make sure they feel empowered, make sure they know how to get a hold of me. We have Skype for Business, we have Microsoft Teams, we have WebEx or Zoom. On the work front today, my student appeals. I have appeals for students asking for retroactive withdrawals, and those have pretty much sat idle on my desk for the last 2 weeks as we're dealing with COVID. So today I created a tracking mechanism to identify all the students from the spring semester so that, a few years down the road where the implications are still trickling, or in 10 years down the road when people look back and try to figure out why we did some of the things we did that don't align with our regulations, they'll see this. We had a WebEx call with campus partners to talk about what our virtual commencement ceremony might look like. I was a little disappointed in some of the responses that I got. They're worried about some of my kind of virtual reality ideas and how to possibly turn it around, how intellectual property might be involved, how legal might have some concerns about how students might use the tool. I'm still pushing on that. That's to be figured out. My commencement staff split up, tag teamed a couple other online conference calls for folks trying to figure out what this virtual commencement looks like across the states. Most of us don't do this. We want to be innovative. We want to be inclusive. We want to be creative. I spent probably 3 hours off and on trying to create an FAQ for our families. I had an amazing parent from one of our Facebook communities call and kind of talk through her concerns and trying to get clarification so she could try and clear things up with some of the chatter on the Facebook page. It was a wonderful conversation. I feel like I told my staff, if I was going to continue to work in the office, we were going to have to institute some dance breaks, because all of this unease and unsettledness and constant change and movement, I realized I was just clenching my jaws, giving myself a headache and tense in my stomach. I love a really fast pace, changing, challenging environment. I love working in the emergency room because I never knew what was coming in the door. We had great staff, nurses, doctors. I loved that energy. This just feels different. And so I know it's not the pace itself. I love a fast-paced environment. It's all the unknowns. I don't know, worried about, loved ones and how they're going to survive. A very dear friend of mine in the photography business is going to have to lay off a ton of people. People are about to struggle, and I just hope and pray that it is short-lived. Well, I don't need to hope. I know we are resilient people. Exchanges that I see in the grocery store, in the lines, in how considerate people are and patient and empathetic, and I see similar exchanges on Facebook. We are really a caring and compassionate and empathetic and resilient race, and I would just challenge you all to remind yourselves of that, remind each other of that, and stop letting the media direct your attention to toilet paper hoarders. Stop it. Just stop it. I can't wait to see how we come out on top and how we shine as human beings and as compassionate individuals, and how we're going to come out on top, and it's going to be a beautiful, amazing summer. And I can't wait to see where we all go from there. So this is me signing off on Thursday, March 19th. I'm going to check in again with you tomorrow on Friday, March 20th. Yeah, after Friday, I think I'll wrap up this bonus podcast and start fresh with the weekend and a new round of bonus episodes as I hashtag work from home. See where we go. All right, talk to y'all tomorrow. Happy Friday, everybody. It is March 20th. I just wrapped up my last day in the office for at least 2 weeks. As I shared yesterday, my husband has some anxiety about what I might bring home to him. So I talked with my team this morning and let them know this was probably the plan, and that my assistant registrar may be doing the same thing because of her potential childcare issues. Several online meetings today. Who did we talk with? This morning I started with with our office manager to talk about website updates, with the fact that we're going to close to walk-in traffic. It's going to be all virtual, dating the information on that, finalizing my FAQs that we were preparing for our commencement website, touching base with my team to make sure we were on the same page with that. Then we had a 10 o'clock WebEx call with one of our vendors for some commemorative commencement ideas we typically coordinate with him to sell flowers and commemorative necklaces and class t-shirts with all of the names of the graduating class on the shirt. We're wondering why we hadn't seen any of that, and he had a really genuine, real conversation about what realistically he felt like they could deliver, and not over-promising what expectations might be, his manpower might look like and result in as far as turnaround time. That was a good 30 minutes. Had a short break after that to touch base with our team. We had a federal investigator come in the office, which is typical, but he usually has a handful of student releases that he's presenting so that he can get transcripts, and they are always done in person. And so we had to talk through what that was going to look like, since we were not going to be doing walk-in traffic for at least a couple of weeks. Relieved to know my staff handled that without my need to intervene. Very professional, no issues. At 11 o'clock, we had a group call with our developers and my boss and a couple other members in our office to talk through the different scenarios that the faculty are thinking about for grade relief for students this semester. I think we are on version 3 or 4 of the iteration that the faculty are chewing over. Again, creating safety measures to ensure that this crazy semester that we are all just head spinning over doesn't create any negative implications for our student. That was a good hour-long conversation. Then 3 of us decided to do a picnic lunch. We needed to get out and clear our heads and just talk about something else other than the coronavirus. So that was really nice. It was cold, it was windy, but it was some great quality time. Really enjoyed it. Back in the office, then it's getting real. We've heard additional people talk about the potential for shelter in place for the entire country. What does that look like? I've got some staff that really, really want to come to work. They don't want to have to work from home. So talking through those feelings of anxiety and what that means, and what it means to plan for the worst and hope for the best. I charged a couple with a staff member with helping get someone else set up on a laptop and get the technology installed and do a couple test drives so they feel comfortable. We had one staff member who was working remotely today, and if the reality is that we won't be back in for 2 weeks, I wanted her to be informed so she could come in and grab enough work to keep her busy for 2 weeks. Talking through the scenarios with our students that were there and what work we could have for them over the next 2 weeks. Again, before you know it, it was 4:30. We did get a communication out to our graduating seniors with next steps on what we would like them to do in order to capture diploma name and mailing address and what that looks like for them and timelines for that. We've worked with our printer to figure out how to get that diploma in their hands as soon as possible. Once the semester's over, I am going to push the university to cover a overnight shipping for any of our students that have a diploma that needs to go internationally, so that it will come with a tracking number, and we'll just underwrite the cost of that. And I've really pushed the envelope with the administration. We'll see how they come back with timing on getting the diplomas in the hands of our undergraduate students. Very non-traditional. We'll see how they come back. I'm really worried because our diploma printer is dependent on human manpower. They're all struggling with social distancing and people getting sick or afraid to come to work. And yeah, even if we paid for overnight shipping from them, she couldn't even guarantee a 5-day turnaround just because of sheer manpower shortage. So that was interesting. We sent that communication out to students to tell them diploma name, we need your mailing address. We still encourage you to rent the cap and gown so you can have a graduation party in your regalia with your family and friends. Our vendor's going to cover the shipping to and from, and they'll have up to a week after our traditional commencement ceremony date would have been to return the cap and gown so they can have it for a big chunk of time. And a survey asking them tentatively, what are they thinking about as far as a future ceremony? Might they consider coming back this summer, this winter, next summer, next winter, or are they just going to forget it altogether? Yeah, I was really disappointed. Someone actually took time out of their day to reply back, reprimanding us because we expressed our disappointment instead of acknowledging the students' disappointment, which we have already done multiple times on multiple platforms. I told my staff, please don't respond. I'm going to sit on it overnight and come up with a response for this individual, but it's not about us. It's about them and what they're going through. And I think it was a parent. I don't think it was a student. I think it was a parent. I'm still getting a handful of folks on our social media, judging us for, why don't you just postpone? Why don't you reschedule? Ask the students what they want. We're asking them what we want. I can't ask 7,000 students what they want, but I am asking as many students as I have accessible to me about what they want. I'm also trying to balance that with what a parent might want, because graduation is not just about the student. It's also about the parent and all the work and blood, sweat, and tears that they put, and money, to get the student across the finish line. So, these are trying times for us all, and I'm just trying to remind myself this is not personal. There's a lot of emotion tied to this on so many levels, and we were just one of the ones to call it early. I'm looking for more to follow suit. We were on a conference call with the commencement officers across the country. Oh gosh, I don't know how many were on there. 33% had already decided to postpone or cancel, and the rest of them on the phone said it was coming. And interestingly, the ones that said that they were postponing were either going to reschedule because they're a small institution and it's easy to do when you have a small population, or they were just postponing the inevitable because of the optics. So, I don't know. It all sucks all the way around. I can't fix it. I have another meeting with the president's office on Monday for some additional decisions as it relates to graduation, but I've got my home office here all set up. Sort of. I need to get a power strip so that I don't blow my fuses, but I feel like I'm ready to go for the next 2 weeks. We'll see. My husband and I both living, working, sleeping under the same roof. We'll be fine. It'll be fine. So anyway, y'all, I think this will wrap up this bonus episode on COVID-19 week 2 in the life of a college admin. And yeah, I hope you're finding this interesting. I'll keep going next week. Classes are supposedly back in session, so I will continue this series into next week. We'll see where it leads us. So until next week, y'all take care.